hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? Please say hi in the comment section and let me know where you are joining me from. Hi everyone, my name is Flora Bezi. I am a digital accessibility expert and founder at Linoratech. Linoratech is simply an incredible company with the value and mission to help and support tech leaders and tech professionals easily create inclusive and accessible digital products like website application and digital document. And this is to help and serve everyone, including clients, consumers, or employees with visible or invisible disabilities. Now, please again, don't feel shy. Say hi in the comment. We are live right now. I can see all your comments. And if you have any question at any point in time during the show, just put the comment, your thought or your question in the comment section, and we will reply live. I have an incredible guest speaker with me today. Can't wait to bring her on stage and share with you. But really, if you know me, you know I always talk about technology, accessibility, digital product, and so much more. But I thought it was intriguing to see on my guest speaker profile that we can actually reimagine disability. And I was like, what? No, I need to invite this lady, this incredible trailblazer, to come and share a little bit of insight. She's just an incredible woman. I see someone say hi, and I know, Laura, you are on stage waiting for me to get you in. I'm super excited. So again, just feel free to say hi. Oh, Ariel. Ariel, say hi. Laura, you know what? I'm just going to bring you on stage. Please, guys, say hi and welcome Laura.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is amazing.
I'm super, super, super thrilled to have you, Laura. When I saw the reimagined disability, I was intrigued. I have been an advocate for accessibility and disability for quite a long time, especially in the tech area. But for you to say, perhaps the problem does not just lie on the skills and all of those. Perhaps the problem is about the mindset and how we even see disability or accessibility. Laura is an incredible curator. She's a costume designer. She is just incredible. She is the founder of, you might want to just correct that for me, Opulence.
Mobility. Opulent mobility.
I love that. Opulence mobility. And she is actually pushing us to rethink or reimagine disability, accessibility. She is allowing us to be more creative when we think it probably is impossible. She's like, no, let's think about it again. So you know what, Laura, can you please just introduce yourself? And before we get even to that, sorry, I usually try to be a bit mindful and kind of self-describe so that my audience who is blind or my audience with a visual impairment might have the chance to also kind of perceive me for this episode. So right now, I'm a Black woman. I always smile. I am wearing some braids with a black, white, brown. I'm a bit more funky today, but I love it. That calls for diversity, but this is me. My pronouns are she, her, elle en français. And yes, Laura, can you please tell us who you are? And that would be great.
Absolutely. For visuals, I am a middle-aged white woman with brown hair and turquoise headphones and a stripy overtop and sitting in front of a very full bookshelf. And thank you so much for doing this. It was so grateful that you reached out to me. As you say, I'm an artist and a curator and the founder of Opulent Mobility, and I've been doing costumes for many, many years. But this whole thing with reimagining disability has taken me on a whole nother journey.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear more. One thing that I love about Laura is that she is really transparent in the process that she has been taking in her journey. So most of my audience are more techie people, more leaders in that area, and so sometimes we don't really see creativity as a solution to
Mm.
open up, and create more solutions that can be actually useful and inclusive to everyone. But before we get even to that, Laura, can you tell us why did that passion
Mhm.
start for you? What
Well,
did, yeah.
it started, I worked with people who are disabled multiple times, but I didn't have it really have a personal impact until a former partner had a stroke. And I was taking him to physical therapy, and I saw it was an 85-year-old man and a 4-year-old girl doing the same physical therapy he was at 37 for strokes. So you don't have to hit me over the head. I get it. Look, it can happen to anybody at any time for any reason. But I could not imagine why the equipment had to look as awful as it did. Like it seemed insultingly ugly, and I couldn't get it. There are so many options, really great tools to help you pull up your socks, help you slice your vegetables, help you get around. And they're just basic things that anybody might need at any time, but they don't have to look that terrible. So I really thought about this, and many years later, going through a bunch of changes of life, I went and talked to a friend of mine who is a wheelchair user, and he offered me his extra wheelchair, and he let me doll it up, dress it up like a throne, and dress him up for an art event, which was amazing. And I padded it up, and it was gorgeous, and it was wrong. The padding was wrong for him as a quadriplegic. He'd had a medical uh, surgery that I didn't know about. And just there was so much I didn't know, and it could have endangered him. Luckily, was not. He almost fell on the floor. Luckily, I was, because this is not at all my intention, of course. I just thought, okay, well, can't we make it look interesting? But I realized how much more I had to learn. I was finding out by trial and error, more error than trial sometimes.
I really can relate to that. I think that usually when we create something new, we face, failures from time to time. And I think for the longest time, it's quite interesting because for the longest time, I used to think that failures was not good. It's like I'm not there yet. All of those negative feelings. But then I learned failures is only a feedback. And if you have failures in your life, it's probably because you trained something new that you haven't done before. Because if you had done it, you probably wouldn't be failing at it eventually, hopefully. That's quite interesting. So, based on what you just said, Laura, you have been working with incredible people with disabilities in the past, but really, your passion for reimagining disability and for creating things that are more accessible also happen more so because of your partner having a stroke. So it did bring the disability story at home for you.
Yes. And later, of course, as I started working through my own chronic illness issues, that also became part of it. But because I was excited by doing this art, but couldn't find good places to share my art because so few gallery spaces were wheelchair accessible. And that seemed like a terribly rude thing to do, to show my work, a wheelchair in a place where a wheelchair user can't get. That's not cool. So I started thinking about it and trying to find places, first off, that were accessible. And then second, to find other people to work with, because I'm a collaborator at heart. I started in theater. That's what I really love. And I figured, how hard could it be? I'll put together a show. And I was so wrong on so many levels. But I started inviting other people to join me. And I didn't specify what type of disability that somebody might want to focus on. And people shared all of these wonderful things about their mental health issues, their eyesight issue, all kinds of other things. But mostly it was about how do we imagine it as something amazing instead of an object of pity or an object of anger. Because
Mm,
those were the sorts of things I was seeing
yes,
in the way people treat disability. And
yes.
that didn't seem, anger is appropriate, right? A lot of people get marginalized. Anger is an appropriate, honest response. But art is a really great way of opening up conversations to people who might not otherwise think about it. So this was, and angry doesn't always get the point across in a way that is, well, for lack of a better term, inclusive,
That's true. That's
you
true.
know? And
Yes.
sometimes that opens the conversation better.
Yeah, and I like how you put it. Even for from just going through your journey, right, and having the call to say, "Hey, I can do something about it," and you created a piece of art or a chair for someone, thinking, I got it in my head. I can just create it. It's gonna be fine. It's just gonna be smooth. The person is gonna be happy, and you almost endangered this individual
Yeah.
because perhaps you didn't have enough talk with that person to understand a little bit of the reality of that person. And I think that I see that also happening so many times in
All the time.
organizations where we think with our own biases. We assume a lot of things and we leave little holes around. And again, not our fault sometimes, but it could be our fault. If we are creating something that's supposed to be inclusive, it could be good to have conversation with people that looks like or act like these people that you want to serve as well. For the longest time, most organizations have been creating things with in mind that people can see, can talk, can touch, can hear, and so much more. Now we are opening, the possibility for to reach out to a larger audience, and that means that we need to really put ourselves on the side and say, who are we talking to? Who do we want to serve? Is that person blind? Is that person with using a wheelchair? Like, to your point, when you wanted to create your gallery, you're like, okay, I want my experiences to be inclusive, but can people even get inside the gallery? That's a fantastic question. And that's why I think that, for the leaders that are following us here today in this episode, or for the tech professional, always reimagine. It means put yourself in the other person's shoes. Of course, you will not have all the information. So the next thing after that is reach out. I mean, there are so many incredible people who are sharing their stories online, and some people are even willing to jump on a call to just give you a little bit more insight. Of course, I will encourage people also to budget for that, because sometimes people time is precious and you don't know what they are handling behind the scene with the cost of living and things like that. So appreciate the value by paying the people so that they are able to move forward and do the same work for more people, or maybe improve in that knowledge as well. But Laura, you said something that was interesting, because you are a curator, you are an artist. Oftentimes people who will say, what does art has to do with technology? But you said a few things that I would love for you to share. So, yeah, what is the relationship with art, technology, and accessibility?
You make things more accessible by putting things online, period. Absolutely, for so many reasons. When you can put things online, more people get access to them, literally. So once you are doing that, then, this was a part of what I've been doing since the beginning, to try to find better ways to get art descriptions, to make sure that blind and low vision people are enjoying the work too, and to do both the very simple ones, the descriptions, and also the more detailed ones, so you really can step inside of the art and experience it. To start adding ASL, to start doing online talks and offering that option, to find more ways that you can communicate with your people. especially when we're talking about still having COVID. I
Mm,
know nobody wants to talk about it, but it's still happening. And also recognizing that sometimes people's access needs are going to be contradictory. So if you need to be in a space, for example, that's in person, and people have chronic illnesses, you might need to mask up. That's not going to be good for people who lip read. So finding ways that you can talk to the communities that you're working with, and then also combining it with tech by offering live versions, makes it so more people can attend, you can bring more in, and you can really find your audience in the best possible way.
yes. Ooh, I love it. I love it. And it's so important. I want to ask the audience, what do you think about image description, as Laura just mentioned it? With art, usually it's so hard to even, if I'm thinking about a person who's blind, who is not able to see the art, but want to enjoy the art like everyone else, like members of their family or friends or maybe colleagues. Sometimes we have things that we do together at work, and we go and visit a museum or something like that, and they're not able to do that because most of the time people who are blind might rely on hearing or on touch, but oftentimes in art gallery we are not supposed to touch certain pieces, right? What do you think, audience, about image description or art description? One thing that Laura and I spoke about, because Laura, when we were talking about image description, you said, Flora, I like image description, but here's the thing. I want the audience to feel the art. So it's not just about describing what that piece is and say, okay, wooden, whatever this. I want them to feel the information that has been put in this art, so that, of course, art can be subjective, like beauty can be subjective, right? But it's quite interesting just to add that feeling in the description and allow even the person to take it wherever they want to take it. Allow them to feel the art as, someone. It has to start somewhere. I know some people will debate, no, we don't want to do that because we don't want them to take one direction. Listen, let's start somewhere. Let's start
It's
somewhere.
it's better to start. It's just better to start. Look, of course, you could do a basic one. Here's a description. Against a teal, white, or teal, cream, and black background are two talking heads. That's a very vague description, but it gets it there, right? But to really get into it, it depends, of course, on how much time you have and who your audience is. If you're dealing with an artistic medium, I think it's appropriate to go in more detail and want to get more out of it. In the same way that you can actually describe a symphony for somebody who does not hear. There are ways to get that image across. I know some people who complain about art descriptions and saying, oh, well, blind people can't see blue. You don't know when that person didn't get their vision. You don't know and you don't know what somebody's image is of blue. Yeah. So just put it in there.
Yeah.
Doesn't harm you. It's perfectly easy. And there are ways to do it very simply. And there are also trained art describers, and I love them.
I like that. Can you talk to us a little bit about this trained art describer? Because when you and I were sharing, you said, Flora, I'm so lucky. I live in California and I know incredible people who are voice artists. And I was like, wait a minute, she's adding someone else in the pie, And what can a voice artist do to help, make art more inclusive and accessible? Because you've gone through your journey with failing, winning, learning. Can you just tell us a little bit more?
Well, it was something that I thought was a wonderful addition. And I have friends who are voiceover artists. So I was coming up with all of these art descriptions. And I thought adding an extra element of having the voiceover artist read the descriptions adds a certain poetry to the whole experience, and it becomes much more immersive. It's a little bit more as though you are in the space having someone describe it to you directly. I People have screen readers, so you do not have to do this, but frequently the voices are not great. So, it becomes a little bit clinical sounding. And again, not the personal approach, which I am really trying to do and am encouraging all of the artists to bring in. That is personal. How to reimagine disability as personal instead of simply medical?
Definitely. And someone has told me it's so sad that people think about accessibility or disability from that point being something medical. It's actually, according to the WHO, again, the World Health Organization, there are more than 1.3 billion people with a disability in the world. And, incredible people with disability, with their ally, with friends, with family. They have a disposable income of more than $13 trillion, which means they want to participate to, they want to go to an art gallery. Some want to buy stuff online independently. They don't want always to have to get the support from someone, and technology can do so much more. As a matter of fact, Laura, you also said that you have been leveraging QR code in some
Yes.
of your work. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's a simple way to do this. Because I've been putting so much information online, I will do individual artist pages for each of them, and I will put them on the art labels. If you are familiar with the term, it's a didactic. If you're not, that's okay. But that's the information that you usually put beside a piece of art in a gallery. If you put a QR code on it and it goes to them, say somebody who needs to use a screen reader can have it read off the description and the information about the artist. They can go to the artist's webpage. They can learn more about the entire process. And it's much more engaging.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. Some might say, well, if you put a QR code, how can a blind person find the QR code on the page? I think that, once you have a staff who is well aware about the intent of, the art gallery or maybe your business wanting to be inclusive, you can find ways to welcome people in and say, hey, we have a QR code. Maybe we can set you up at the beginning and then you will enjoy the rest of the experience. I know for a fact, for example, Laura, my daughter, she's young, she's 7 years old. We went to a gallery and then she was a bit bored because, things are a bit more static, kids, they like to touch things. And so at some point we discovered close to each art piece, there were a QR code. So we did that. We used the QR code, and her eyes just light up because on the QR code, well, the page that led us through the usage of the QR code, the page target had videos, sound, and more stuff about the piece. And she said, whoa, mommy, can I have your phone to discover things in the gallery? And I said, what? She said, yes, because I want to check all the QR codes. So she went on again, sorry for the word, scavenge vector, or I don't know how you say that word, but literally she went searching all the QR code and was like, oh, I've learned so much here. Oh, I've learned so much here. So really, when you are thinking about inclusion, accessibility, you're not just serving people with disabilities. It's so much more. You're serving the little ones who might not in a different way be able to read, but they can hear. You are lighting up the mindset of different people to do the right thing and to explore or to buy things. Hopefully my daughter is not going to use my phone to buy stuff, but it is so...
Well, you don't know.
But it's so interesting. Another thing that you mentioned was around, if you can talk quickly about failures, because I know, as I said, many people feel like if things are not working perfectly when they start, it might mean that they probably just have to stop that initiative, or they have to stop exploring, or they have to stop the project. But what is your take on that?
The only way to guarantee that you can't become good at anything is to not do it. is the only way. The only way you genuinely make leaps and really learn is by doing it wrong. If you're always doing it right, you don't learn anything. That's just sort of the way it works. And it's frustrating to not know how to get it right. I understand that totally. But I have made mistakes every single time I put things up. I have to learn about new access needs. I don't always know what to do. So I spend a lot of time asking. And that is the one way that you are less likely to fall into the hole.
So true, because you said collaboration also has been something that has helped you tremendously. You know, everyone has knowledge, but we do not have all the knowledge. And I love how you are open to this possibility, Laura. Started, I'm pretty sure you didn't know much about accessibility. You knew a lot probably around apps and the different things that you've learned in your own experience. But
Yes.
accessibility was probably new, and you started collaborating, searching, learning. I mean, I think that this is incredible. So you guys, you have it. Failure is not a bad thing. Embrace failure, embrace the discomfort, and open up yourself to more collaboration. And don't feel intimidated if you don't know much. Just say, I don't know much, but I would like to know more. And people are always happy to help. I mean, I work in accessibility. I've been working in accessibility for quite some time, and I love sharing, supporting. Incredible people like Laura also are open to share their experiences. So go for it. I see someone share the comment. And again, if you want to say hi, please say hi. If you're reading that you're watching this video offline or later on, still say hi. We love to go back to comment and see what you guys are thinking. Please, if you like what you're hearing, a big thumbs up, a heart, or whatever reaction. And don't forget to share this episode in your network to help others. Okay, I see Alia said describing emotions with words. Wow! It's beyond the capabilities of automatic browser features. Kudos for this. Oh, thank you so much. Ariel is sending you a kudos, Laura. You know,
Thank you. Thank you so much. I also have a terrific art describer. Her name is Terry Grossman. She's at Audio Eyes. But check around. You're going to find some people. We collaborate on the descriptions too. So she'll come up with ones. I'll come and edit because maybe I know more about portions of the art than she does from getting the information from the artists. And so we go back and forth.
yeah,
And things shift all the time. So
that's
it's
that's
okay.
It's okay, and that's why I think we want people to wake up to the fact that accessibility is a journey. You might have the knowledge in your position as a leader, or maybe you are a DEI leader, or maybe you are in HR, maybe you are an artist like Laura. It's all about collaboration, helping each other's learning. We might fail, but it's okay. It's okay. Just ask questions, just talk to people, just share what you have in mind where you are right now. This is where you can start, and this is the best place to start. Don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow things will change again. You will never be able to catch up. I mean, I've tried that before. Trust me, I failed several times, so I'm not even worried about waiting for the next thing to come. So that's really good. I see Dr. Rocky also say, hi, Flora, great points. Thanks for sharing your insight. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Rocky. I really appreciate that. All right, Laura, we are almost at the end. I hope I covered everything. But again, guys, if you have any question, please feel free to share your question or reach out to Laura, reach out to me. If there is anything we can do to support, let us know. This show is happening weekly each Friday for little 30 minutes. So please take the advantage and join me every time. But Laura, where can people find you?
Oh, they can find all of the information about the exhibit at opulentmobility.com.
Perfect. Here you have it. And it is the end. And so I want to thank everyone. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you next Friday. So tune in next Friday because I want to share with you what makes a company inclusive and accessible. Ha! You're probably gonna love this one, but I'm not gonna share anything today. So thank you again for joining me, and it was a pleasure talking, sharing with you. You know, having a different perspective around disability and how we can rethink and connect art and accessibility and digital product. Thank you for coming over, my friend.
Thank you so much. This is lovely.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.